Hi, welcome to Tea Time with Amie and Bev. What's up, chica?
Not much. What are you up to?
Well, first of all, I just want to start out by saying, when you look in the mirror and you notice something that you weren't expecting to be there, like a freaking chin hair.
You're
Seriously.
hilarious.
And then you look a little closer and there's one like this long that you didn't even know was there. Apparently, I don't look at myself that closely in the mirror. Anyway, I'm just exaggerating, but seriously, there was. It's like, oh my gosh.
And no one said like, here, let me get that for you.
Or hey, by the way, you got this 2-inch long chin hair hanging. No, does anybody tell you that? No. So let me just point this out for you, my sisters. For any of you women that are listening, men, this includes you too. You got to have our back. Let us know, right? Let us know that the tag's hanging out. Let us know that those goofy little plastic hanger things are sticking out. Let us know that, there's toilet paper stuck to our shoes. Let us know we have freaking chin hairs. Don't be embarrassed.
We aren't like going to be offended by you saying something, because it's not like it's not like we want that to be there. It's not like, hey, look at me right here. I am sporting this. I'm so proud. What do you think about my beard? Yeah. No, that's not even the conversation.
This is not what's it called? The
goatee or something. Are you
no,
talking?
I'm not trying to grow the longest hair ever. What's that called? Guinness Book of World Records. I am not trying to get into that with a chin hair. Let me know it's there.
You might say, yeah, I know, I'm letting it grow out. I mean, if that happens, then okay, more power to you, but most likely no.
And you know what? I'm going to start carrying a pair of tweezers in my purse.
Well, I do have them in my truck, so I'm not going to lie. I mean, I do have a pair in my truck, so hilarious.
So listen,
so that's exciting.
Here's something that I came across this saying probably a couple months ago, and it just sticks in my head, is a queen straightens another queen's crown without telling her it's crooked. Have your sisters back. Okay. Let's just have our sisters back. Let's come together more than criticizing or judging each other. Because really, when you're doing that, there's something going on within yourself. So if you want to be better, then, support your sister too. Help her be better. See her strengths and encourage her to be stronger. That's something that I learned in business over the past couple of years, listening to business mentors, is when you're around people, we all have our strengths and we all have our weaknesses. And in my time of growing and expanding, even back in the day when I was hating life, there was more of a focus on your weakness and get better at it. Over the past couple of years, through all the business mentoring that I've been in, they're like, fuck that. You're weak in it. It's not your strong suit. Focus on your strengths. Focus on your strengths and get even better at that. And you know what? Those things that you suck at, go hire somebody to do it for you. So like in business, as an example, marketing is, it's a lot of creativity. I embrace it when I can get into it. It's definitely a mindset shift when I get into that space. But marketing, it is tedious. It is detail oriented. It's time consuming. Hire somebody to do your marketing. A website, maintaining your website. It is tedious. It is detail oriented, and it is time consuming. Hire somebody to take care of your website. Hire somebody to do your books. So I can show up to do what I do as my best, and that is my strength, right? And focus on that and get even better at it. So what are you strong at? What are you really good at? And just keep getting better at it, right? Keep expanding on that. I had no idea this was going to go this direction today. I like always, we never talk about what we're going to talk about, especially chin hairs, just saying. But so anyway, it was interesting when I started hearing business leaders saying that. Like, stop focusing on your weaknesses. You know they're there. You know you suck at it. What are you strong at? And go that direction. I'm like, that was like a revelation for me.
Yeah.
Because what do? We focus
Yeah.
on our weaknesses, and then it's like, I'm not good enough. I'll never get this. And now you're taking class upon training and trying to get even better at it. And you don't like it anyway. You don't like it anyway. Why are we spending time doing something we don't like when we want to do something that makes our heart sing? What makes my heart sing? Teaching, doing tea time, doing coaching, doing classes, showing up to do that. Doesn't make, I mean, it's part of my business and I'm a solopreneur right now. So that's why I said, getting into the marketing pieces, I have to get in my mindset and the creativity of it and embrace it and see it differently before I start doing it, because the energy I put into that is going to affect my business. And do I love the bookkeeping pieces? I'm embracing it because now I get to see the numbers and focus on those numbers growing and visualizing where I want to go. The website, again, it's a creative piece. It's something I can do for now, and I get into the energy of it and embrace it. And when the funds are flowing and things are flourishing, right? Then it's building that team, the team of people to take care of those pieces. So, as we talk about all the time, it's like whatever we bring in our energy into whatever we're doing is for sure going to affect the outcome.
I mean, it all boils down to honoring self. If you like it, do it. If you don't.
Oh man.
Honestly. Even yesterday I woke up and I got up and I felt kind of dizzy, and I thought, okay, well, I'm going about my day, and I go in to get ready to go. I'm going to go to my daughter's house, and I'm feeling dizzy. I'm feeling nauseated now. So now I kind of lay on the bed. So I thought, because sometimes this will happen to me. So I laid down. I'm going to lay down for a little bit. Well, laying down for a little bit turned into a lot of it. And then I'm like, my daughter just found this puppy. I trying to get myself motivated to go do something, right? And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I wasn't honoring self. I'm all, yeah, I can just go see the puppy and go do this, and then I'll go pick up my granddaughter, and then I'll come home, and like all these things. Although this whole time I'm not feeling myself, I'm not feeling great. So that motivation gets me up, and I get ready, and I come out, and I tell Freeman, I'm going to go ahead and excuse me, take off to town and go take care of this stuff. And he's like, wait a minute, like shaking his head a few times, like, what? You're not feeling good and you're going to go pick up your granddaughter and bring her back and do, what if you're coming down with a bug and now you're going to share it with her, and like all these things. And it's like, but I stopped for a second to recognize this has been my routine. I'll find something. And I think a lot of parents, and I won't just say moms, because it's moms and dad, it's parents. When we've got these things that we feel like we have to do, first of all, if I didn't go, Vivi could either stay at school till mom gets off work, and then she would just be there till 4 and then go with mom, instead of coming out at my house at 2 o'clock or whatever time I pick her up after her nap. Or she could have gone with her aunt. There was nothing needed to be done right that time, but that was my motivation to spur me to get going. So then I forget about how I'm feeling, and now I'm doing all this stuff. And we do that. I feel like we do that on a daily basis instead of honoring ourselves. So I was like, okay. And it took me a little bit, really, because I was kind of irritated that it was brought to my attention. So obviously a trigger. So letting me know this is a trigger, even though I'm working through in my mind, this is the process I'm going through, and I'm recognizing how I'm pushing myself, and my body is telling me that it needs a break. I can push it past. My body probably would do fine, or maybe it won't. I don't know. This time I didn't actually push it. I went outside and I thought, well, I got to clean my windshield. So I'm cleaning my windshield. I'm kind of not feeling good. I'm like, well, shit, maybe he's right. Maybe I just need to stay home. And still at this point, I have not sent anybody a message because I'm waiting for like a sign instead of this, instead of the sign
Sign
is
is you
already
don't
here.
feel good.
Yes, it's like it's already right here, but it's so easy to self-sacrifice because it's been a routine for my lifetime.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always feel like a self-sacrifice, but I am at that time. I'm sacrificing this vehicle that I'm in currently in this lifeline. I'm not listening to it and I'm not honoring it because it's telling me that it needs to rest. So I finally go in and Freeman comes in. He's like, oh, because my shoes are off now. And he says, you're going to stay home? You not feeling good? I'm like, no, I'm all right. You know, not going to concede that I'm not because I don't want to bring more of it into my future. I'm like, I'm just going to rest. So, and I basically rested in bed all day long yesterday, all day. And I haven't done that. Gosh, I don't think since Jim passed. Honestly, just haven't really just sat back. And it's crazy. And I don't feel like there's a tie to it. Maybe there is. Yesterday was my mom's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And he reminded me in the morning, like, hey, it's mom's birthday. Did you tell your mom happy birthday yet? I was like, no, I'm doing it right now. And then it's like, I'll tell her a couple more times. But I've been spending so much time with my mom anyways before yesterday. So it's like yesterday was a me day. Yesterday was a me day that, gosh, oh, I mean, like my mind's all of a sudden, wow, what if my delivery was a little bit different for my mom that day? Maybe my mom wasn't feeling good that day. Maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe there's something so much more that could have been bigger in that whole picture. So, but I finally took the chance to honor it. And by doing that, I listened to so many podcasts yesterday. I listened to different people. I listened to this. I thought it was going to be like this long, drawn out meditation. And it's with this Lee Hill. He's actually pretty awesome. And then he says, okay, I want everyone to grab your pen and paper because they're in the middle is a Shift Network thing, but it was being shown on YouTube. Grab your pen and paper. And I want you to write down, what does my soul want to tell me today at the top of the page? And then write down, I choose to allow my soul to speak to me from the highest light. And then from that moment, write down every single thing that comes into your mind. And he says, I know that you're going to want to rationalize this information that's coming through because this is like automatic writing, or it is automatic writing, not like. And it was so easy and simple. And it's like I would finish 3 or 4 words, and all of a sudden 3 or 4 more words would come in. And it's like, wow, this is like super easy. Like, so I wanted to share it with people. If it's that easy, it's just taking the time, and it's not examining what you're saying or what you're hearing. It's just writing it down and then reread it afterwards. Like, so huge. And even the gal that was doing the interview got information that was so beneficial for her. And mine wasn't the same as hers, because before in the past, I would have compared mine, especially in a group. She got this. Well, I didn't get that. I only got this. Just like, I want a sign, my body's saying it's sick and I'm not listening to the sign, but I want some more signs. I needed confirmation like 10 more times in triplicate, right?
Right.
So just so much information that was coming through. So it was just such a wonderful space that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to do had I just ignored myself. And yesterday was needed. It was required, really.
Yeah.
And that's just honoring self. It's simple. And it's like, what was I going to hurt? And I was feeling guilty because my granddaughter, we have such a great time together always, my grandkids and I, that they don't want to miss out on a grandma day, because it's all about them that day. We do things all day long. I play with them. I am the other kid. It's like, they're like telling me, okay, well, we're going to go run over here. We're going to go play cowboys, and you got to run along. Grandma, you're not backing up. We're backing up right now. Like, I am the person that plays along with them their day. This is their day. So I was making myself feel guilty about that. And then it kind of went away, and I realized everything's going to be fine. And I need to stay for myself.
Yeah, because it would have been a whole different experience if you would have gotten her granddaughter, and then I mean, it might have raised your vibration a little, but still by the end of the day, you might have been just like, and she would feel into that energy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I mean, everything we do is a choice, and every second or everything we do, there's something to be learned. And so you decided to take time to rest, and then you also learned something about yourself, right? So
yeah.
It was still a very beneficial time for yourself to be in that space.
And it opened up different activities for last night too. It was interesting. There was one point, and I tell people all the time to write stuff down. So in the middle of the night, and I have a notepad and a pen above my head to write stuff down, but I got up to go to the bathroom, and this verse, this line from a song, and I can't even remember what it was, but it was something about that my life was going to be different from here on out. Like that's it. That's just the way it's going to be. And it was in such a positive way. It was such a positive feeling going through that. And then I went back into my meditation to sleep state, and I had another like situation I call them just, they're not even dreams anymore. They're just experiences. I'm having experiences while I'm resting. My body's resting, because now I'm being shown that I'm in this hotel, or maybe it was a nursing facility or something like that. But this couple was living in one space, and then across, and I come out, and they're telling me, oh, I said, oh, you're cleaning out the spaces? Yeah, well, they transitioned, they passed. And I was like, oh, okay. And I said, well, do you want me to go ahead and do this? Because it's like a husband and wife and these two kids. And the two kids are there, and it's just all the stuff to write down is so important, like just the verse of that song, the meaning of that song, and then the experience that I have afterwards. And they're like, oh, these kids are autistic and they're non-communicative and they're moving around. I'm like, oh, that's weird, because I was just talking to the older one just a few minutes ago. And I'm thinking, this guy doesn't, I mean, like, he's like hiding something, not even recognizing I'm connecting on a different level at that space. And the only reason I tied that together is because in that space, I was like, well, how about you guys go ahead and go, and I'll go ahead and clean up. I said, I just have to clean up the rooms, right? And then bag up all the clothes so they can be donated and everything else. He's like, yes. So he hands me the keys, and then he goes off, and I go into the space to start clearing out this room. And I'm noticing all these sweaters that are the Angora sweaters, because they're longer hairs, they're shorter sweaters. Reminds me of something that someone might have worn with the poodle skirts or whatever, but these are more flowery. And all of a sudden I start noticing there's a name on the shirt. It's Pat. So it's like all these weird things. So I'm going through this stuff, and Freeman's like, well, we'll just throw them away. I said, no, these are nice. We'll get them, we'll donate everything to it, because he's thinking maybe my feeling was he was thinking this maybe not the best energy, because these people have just now transitioned, or whatever the situation was, right? And then all of a sudden the couple's there. I've already seen their bodies. I know they were out, and now they're right here, and she's talking to me. And then I wake up from this whole experience thinking, I could have asked some different questions. Like, I could have asked her some more questions, like, why are you still here? How can I help you? Instead of I'm asking her different things. I don't even know it. But to me, I found that I could have been asking different questions. So it's so funny how these things come up. So I'll write down the dream, because there was a lot more to it, but it's just being aware that there was a communication that was happening, that these people had passed. And it was just, and they're just, I could see them just like I could see you, and they're walking around and they're talking to me, and they're like busy doing stuff. I'm like, and I'm processing it afterwards, like, how can you be so busy doing stuff when you're not even, this isn't your space anymore? Like, you've transitioned. What the hell are you doing here still? It was just interesting. So, but it's like one thing led to the next in order for that to happen.
That's so cool. One of the things that I've had like several times in the past week is deja vu.
Nice.
It's like, I've already done this. Like, I seriously will just stop. Before I would keep going and be like, well, that was weird. Now I'm like, I've already done this, right? And I have to take a moment to process it. And I actually kind of, like, what I'm doing with my eyes, I'm just like, kind of, waiting for, is there anything else?
Now, do you document? Are you writing that stuff down when it happens? Because I never have in the past, but.
No, but I do now. I do stop and acknowledge it. And one of the things that I think I learned it from Sylvia Brown was that, there are different definitions or different viewpoints about what deja vu is. But what she explained was it's like signposts that you're moving in the direction that your spirit was, meant to come and move in. So it's like, you've seen that picture where, our spirit's idea of coming to earth was like this line, right? We're going to go down this path. but our human form goes like this. You know? And so we do cross that path, but then we get distracted and we come across. So every time you come across that path that your spirit has set, that's like your deja vu points. It's like your signpost, like, oh, we hit the path. Now, whether we continue that path or we just go whoop and back over into no man's land, you know, who knows? But this past week has been filled with, I'm just like almost on a daily basis. But my husband was sitting next to me and we were having a conversation. And we were having the conversation, and I looked at the TV, and then he said something, and I looked at him. I was like, we've already done this. This is, and he, of course, he's like, what? I'm just like, yeah, this is a deja vu. I've already done this. This is so cool. So anyway, I just acknowledge the moment. I'm like, okay, thank you for that acknowledgement. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you for letting me know you're here. Like whatever verbiage comes up, and then I'll go about my day. So
That's awesome. I think it's awesome. And
because
it's really what resonates, right? Whenever you hear something like that, it's just like with angel numbers, right? It's just or numerology or anything. Some of the stuff you might be like, oh no, that doesn't make any sense at all. But other stuff is like it totally resonates.
yeah.
So I've heard that said several times from different people, was the same thing, that it means that you're on the right path. You've been here before. So gosh, and I heard someone yesterday talking about karma, thinking about paths. If we're on this path, how an experience. So a friend was with another friend, they were like best friends, and then she decides she's going to break up with her boyfriend, right? So she tells her friend, not knowing that her friend is her boyfriend is best friends with this guy that she's going to break up with. And so it ends up being told, and she goes over to see him, and he's like, oh yeah, you're here to break up with me. And then she said for the longest time, she felt like this friend just didn't have her back, right? So that goes back to the beginning of our conversation. Just wasn't supportive of her and kind of went behind her. Well, years later, she ends up, so karma. So there's already a karma that's created right there from that little tiny experience. And now she's, for whatever reason, having lunch with this her friend's husband, because they've been friends all along, all these guys. And she knows about his wife's having an affair, which was her friend. And she's like, in that moment, I had an opportunity for karmic. So I could have stayed on that path and said everything to him about your wife's cheating on you. This, and she said, it wasn't my space. This is not my experience. And she said, I chose not to carry on that karma because I could have felt justified in saying whatever by this experience, because I felt like I had been, someone had stabbed me in the back then, but that's not the way it was. So it was just, when you look at it in those little ways, we have these karmic these experiences that happen. And so maybe your path along that way might be something that might be karmic, and it's just our way we respond to something, or we react to something. We totally handle it differently than we would have handled it before. And that right there changes that karma. So it's this, but that's again, honoring self too, because it doesn't feel good. It would not have felt good for her to say, well, your wife is having an affair and I know who she's having an affair with. You know what I mean? That would feel uncomfortable. So it is a recognizing, and something like that experience came into my life recently, that I was almost like to the point to defend myself. And then the next conversation, I could have carried on the information that was given to me and shared it with these other people that are very close to me. And I know it would have stayed right there, but that's not the issues. That's not what it was all about. It was about just not being the carrier of all that stuff. I don't have to bring it forward anymore. And it's letting it go, and it's healing all that karmic stuff, which brings me to the next part that I've heard recently, that we're actually all moving past this karma stuff in this lifetime. All of us. I mean, it's happening right now. So it's cool that we get to acknowledge these little details that I didn't have. I had no awareness of this before, how it could happen so easily in your life, and how we can release karma, how we can be present with it, aware of it, know that it's happening, and move forward from it. not carried anymore. That to me is amazing.
And I mean, I'd like to dive into that a little bit more. Is her inner child, her little person inside, was wounded by not being able to trust, feeling betrayed, feeling unloved, right? There's some different dynamics going there. And if she had chosen to, rat out her friend who's having the affair, it would have been more of an ego satisfaction, which would have created a whole bunch more chaos, right? And so there's a lot to be learned in the choices we make. And we have to understand that by not doing anything is a choice, right? It's still an action step.
Yes.
And it's am I going to tell this man his wife's cheating on him out of revenge, anger, right? Being hurt. That's all ego stuff. Or, and you know what, even though she's like, it's in, and I get what you're saying is, it's not my place, it's not my business, it's not my experience. It is her experience because she is in it by knowing the pieces. But what she does with her experience is her choice. And am I going to let my little girl lash out and rat out this person for cheating on her husband? Or am I going to allow them to have their own experience and I just witness it? And, another thing is just to send them all love, whether she took that step or not, right? No matter what your part in the experience is, you're still in it. And what are you going to do with the information, and how are you going to let yourself learn and grow from it? For sure.
Well, because everything that comes into our sights is part of our experience.
Yeah.
And it's an opportunity for growth. Everything.
Yeah.
And to be in a space of non-judgment.
Yep.
Of course, that's a choice, but to be in that space to not judge.
And that's huge. That is huge. That's so huge, is to not be
Yeah.
judgmental, right?
Yeah.
And so, like you said, coming back around to a queen straightens another queen's crown without telling her it's crooked. It's not to go and run to the partner and, puke up all the facts to him. It's, what if you sat with the friend, right? The girlfriend, and said, what you're doing, it's not a judgment on my part. I'm like, I'm the last person to be judging anybody, but I'm going to sit with you. Okay. Can we talk about what is it that you're missing in your current marriage versus what you're experiencing with this person? Can we maybe sift through the emotional state of what you're missing over here, what you're getting over here? And can we be fair to this person and say, this relationship's not working, right? I'm not, and whatever direction it goes, that's between them, but at least taking I would say the action steps to sit with that friend out of non-judgment. There's no judgment. It's to help them sift through what they're feeling, because many of us don't feel heard. And when we don't feel heard, we feel hurt. And when we feel hurt, we lash out in whatever way, temper tantrum, yelling and screaming, having an affair, whatever it might be. So we do things out of being hurt or feeling hurt and not having the satisfaction of life because we're seeking it outside of ourselves instead of having it within ourselves. So she's missing something in this relationship, but she's getting it in this relationship. Okay, one of them is going to end. One of the relationships is going to end, if not both of them. And then what? then there's no satisfaction in the new relationship. And so now there's another person that she's, right? It's just a continuous seeking outside. So it's going within to, you know, what is it I'm missing and what is it I'm not giving myself? Just like you're saying, honoring yourself. What is it I'm not giving myself that I'm expecting somebody else to give me? Because really at any time, it all could be taken. What if they all died? Now who's going to give you that satisfaction? That's what I, you know, I keep reminding myself. Well, I'm depending on this person to love me. Great. What if they're gone? What if they die? Transition. Peace out. Now what? Now I got to find somebody else to fill that void. And I'm going to keep trying to find somebody to fill that void. And it's not going to be satisfying until you can fill the void for yourself. When you fill that void for yourself, then you're going to have relationships or partners. They're going to match that. And they're going to see that you fill your cup up. They're going to enhance that. And whether they're present or not, doesn't matter because you're already full. You're already full because you're filling your cup up. You're honoring yourself. You're loving yourself.
When really the choices that were made were from childhood trauma, childhood wounds. And it's recognizing a lot of that stuff, because a lot of times I think once we recognize where our wounds are coming from, we no longer are that person that hurts people.
Or
And
people
that's
hurt
an inside
people.
job. I was just saying that's just an inside job. It really is. It's not up to anybody else to fulfill or fill any voids. All that stuff is to guide us back into ourselves. I'm listening to different speakers. I'm drawn to just different things these days. And that's, it's not because and that's something to recognize too, because before I would have tried to pursue things because I wanted, like I was not complete without it. And now I'm pursuing things because it's like it's the next step. This is the next step. This is the next step. I just know, and you just know how it feels. And I guess I wouldn't have known how this is the right path if I didn't experience the other part of the path.
Right.
If I was pursuing something as if I didn't have it already. And then recognizing I have all these things already. I am all these things. There's nothing that separates me from anything besides me. And then I'm listening to these people and they're talking about, you know, someone transitioning and how it's each person that's led them down this different path. And it's to recognize we still have these connections with these people. They're spirit people now, but we still have these connections. They're still here to support us as well as us supporting them. So it's just this whole journey, and it's really a matter of how you want to sit and look at it. How does it resonate with you? How does it feel for you? And then really go deep. Like even yesterday, it might have been something so simple, but there was something so much deeper than that. Why I was trying to make myself go do these things, and it's probably because I'm trying to make sure everybody else is happy, and I don't want them to think of me in a different way, or I wasn't good enough, or
not disappointing other people.
Yeah. So, and if you can disappoint yourself all day long, right? Nobody else sees that. They don't pay attention to that. They just pay attention when you disappoint them. And my family was like very awesome. They're like, Mom, just stay home.
Yeah.
Don't do anything at all. It's no big deal. There's another day, like all these things. And then, but at the same point, for me, another day, I may not have another day with them. Do you know what I mean? So it's just, but not to be in a fear space of I may not have another day, because I will always have another day, whether they're in the physical or whether they're not in the physical.
And let me just sit on this. You know what? If it did come down to that with the age that they're at, how playful that would be. How much more fun would it be to interact with them from a non-physical, right? And have them opening up and delivering these messages even more to the people on this planet that we're all still connected. My grandma still comes and plays with me.
That's right. All the time. She's always telling me stuff. She's with me. She's with me right now. But that's an awesome thought, because that is the path to go on. That is the path to teach our children. That's the path for them to understand, not to be addicted to us or think they need us or that we fulfill something for them, but it's to help bring them into a better part of themselves, to help them recognize how amazing they are without even when grandma's not in her physical. So it's an awesome journey too to even think about, although I think I'm going to be here for a while still. So it's
I
all
know.
good.
We are.
It's just so funny. It's so funny we say these things because I was listening to this woman. She was a teacher, and her boyfriend, they were together. Well, she gets a message that he got killed on this. He was riding his motorcycle home or whatever, and he got killed. And it was like, that changed everything for her, that her perspective, everything changed for her. Well, that put her down this other path. It really put her down this path of connection and stuff like that. And she's like now not knowing what she's going to do, how she's going to survive. And then she's doing the same thing a lot of us do. We're leaning on the next message that we're going to get, the next little hint that they're still here with us. And then they start pulling in this direction. And that's the whole process, is to let us know that we're here in the physical. I don't know how physical I want to even refer to anymore. We're in this shell, in these vehicles that we're here in, but we're forgetting how connected, how big we are, how we're spirit before we are in this physical. We're so much more, and we're so big, you can't even contain us into one little place.
Yeah.
So big. One person was talking about, she says, I was doing readings, and she said, I brought over, this woman's coming in and she wants to see her mom, and her mom comes in, and she's like, then she starts like receiving all this information from the mom, that now she's doing another job and she's doing the spiritual work, and that she's been reincarnated, but she can still have access to this consciousness of hers. And it's like, it just goes to show you that everything, we get so caught up in how things need to be a certain way, that our spirit people, our loved ones, are doing so many things right now. And they're capable of doing so many things. That's where multitasking is happening. It's like, oh no, I'm 15 different places right now. I'm with Brianne, Ariana, you, and I'm over here being this new baby. Like, all these things are happening at one time. It's cool.
It is cool. It's so fun.
It is, but it just opens up our minds to, there's so much more. And then with that knowledge, what do we do with that here? Well, we learn how to live differently. We learn how to live without being afraid. And then that reminds me of a conversation I was having yesterday with Freeman, and I were having a conversation, and the conversation was, we're here on free will. We're here on free will, but here we start listening to what everybody's telling us what to do. We have government telling us that we have to do certain things and have to do this, have to do that, but we're on free will. And we're choosing to give up our free will, even in this physical body.
Yeah.
So that was something to wrap our minds around too, because we're here on free will. It's not, it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to, and it's not to be rebellious and go against. It's just being and go in the direction that feels right for you, that resonates with you, that's good for your soul.
And resting is okay.
Resting is perfect.
In fact, that's what Abraham says, right? Esther Hicks. Listen, you get up and it's a bad day, go back to bed.
Yeah. I like that.
If you get up, you're having negative thoughts, you can't get out, go back to bed. Go take a nap. Go.
Well, and I do it too. I mean, I still do it, like even going to work and stuff. I think if I was to change my schedule even more, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't have any clientele, or maybe I would, I don't know. But it's just to honor myself, because some days you get up and it's like, I'm just not feeling it today. But I know that as I go and I push myself through, and I will, it'll be a great day still.
Yeah.
Maybe it could have been that much better, but I do. I guess maybe it's just checking in with self, like, really, why are you feeling this way? And what do you need? What do you need right now? I haven't been in that practice for too long, so I'll have to get back to you on that.
I think that's a great thing for getting back to the basics and just asking, what do I need right now? Right? Just simple. What do I need right now? It could be drink more water. It could be have a cup of hot tea. It could be go take a 10-minute walk or go sit outside. It could be a million different things, but just ask it, what do I need right now? And that simple question, rest. Right? Give yourself permission to rest. And, I mentioned getting back to the basics. Louise Hay's birthday was the other day, and there's a big hoopla, on social media and stuff about, honoring her and stuff. And then I started listening to a recording. I didn't know she was on it, to be honest. I didn't know she was on it. And it was, in fact, I just listened to it this morning. It was with her and Robert Holden. And it was just getting back to the basics. It was just like, look in the mirror, say, I love you, talk to yourself kindly, say that, say your affirmations that life loves me, life is working for me. I work with the most incredible people. I'm surrounded by amazing people, right? It's just there, it's all basic stuff. And I'm like, yes, we do. Even those that have been on this path for a while, it's important for us to go back to the basics. I think, I get sucked into things. I'm one of those, I want to learn all kinds of stuff as fast as I can. And I just get sucked in all these different directions. And it's like, when it's presented to me, get back to the basics. And then I just simply hear Louise Hay's voice, and in a recording, I'm like, it's like a breath of fresh air. It's like, yes, I'm going to come back to this space and be okay. And it's like a reset button too. It's just, it's just a little bit of a reset. Like, okay, my mind's been way too busy. I've been involved in too many things, going too many different directions. Just take a breath. Life is working for me. Life loves me. I'm surrounded by incredible people, right? And it's just like, just brings that busy energy just to settle and just be like, we're okay.
It is. It's something just so simple, and it's just checking in. Like, am I holding my breath right now? Am I doing? You know what I mean? It's just little tiny things, but those are like things that can be done. Really honoring ourselves every day.
Yeah.
To stay in that space. The other day I was saying something about myself, and it's like, then I was asked, what's something positive you can say about yourself? Flat lines. Nothing was coming out. I wasn't thinking of anything. And it's just to be in that space too, to recognize, to write down some of the things that you do good. And it reminds me of Matt Kahn, because Matt Kahn would be like talking about, and I don't know exactly the experience, but I just remember he would make me chuckle about stuff like that. But like, man, I really closed that cabinet good, and closing it again. Or if you're angry, man, I was so good at being angry today, or whatever. But it's like honoring, it's really taking a look at yourself and really honoring yourself and appreciating yourself. We forget about that when we do that with everybody else, perhaps. And if we don't, it starts at home anyways. It's like appreciating yourself. If you can't, how can you appreciate people outside of yourself? How can you love people outside of yourself if you're not appreciating and loving self? So it's just this whole journey that leads you right back to yourself. All of it does. It's right back inside. All of it. Because there's so much to be found from in here.
Well, however you're treating yourself, that's how you're going to treat other people.
Yeah. And then that's how you're going to be treated in the world. You're not being heard. Oh, because you're not listening to yourself.
Right.
You want to be heard. You think it's something outside of yourself. It's not. You want to be seen. It's not you. It's not you being seen by others. It's you seeing yourself.
Right. Yeah. And that's, I don't want to get into the whole conversation of it. But when it came to forgiveness, when I was going through that process, forgiving myself, which means then I had compassion for myself and the things I experienced and the wounded little girl and how I was showing up in my life and all that stuff. It's so easy now for me to, when somebody's expressing anger or lashing out, it's so easy for me to just look at them through eyes of compassion, because I have it for myself, because I did it for myself. Now I can see that for others. Whereas before, if somebody lashed out, then, it's ego against ego, and I got to prove you wrong and prove that I'm right. And now a big argument ensues, and then everybody's having a bad day. And then we take it out on the next person who comes into our path. And then we're going to talk about it all day. And then we're going to go to bed thinking about it, not be able to sleep, and get up thinking about it tomorrow. Now it's just like, I can dip into my heart. I can see through the eyes of compassion and just know they don't feel like they're heard. They don't feel like they're being seen. They don't feel like safe to express themselves. Maybe they have trust issues, right? All the stuff we just talked about. And whatever I practice for myself, so easy to practice with others. It's so easy.
Like that.
Yeah. And I like easy. If it's easy and I'm like your girl, like I'm going to find the easy path now because I've been struggling. I had struggled so long in my life, like 40 years of struggle or more. And yeah, I'm like over it. I want simple and easy, fun. That's the path. And if it's not simple, easy, and fun, I need to go do something. I need to go take a nap. I don't need to be in this. I don't need to be involved in this because if it's difficult, I'm like, I'm not in the space to have to prove myself anymore because there's nobody to prove myself to anymore. I have to accept myself and love myself. That's my choice and that's my job. And I don't need to prove my worthiness to anybody else now. I don't need to prove I'm good enough anymore. It's not fun. So I don't do it. So
it's tiring.
It's
It does.
exhausting.
It actually physically, yeah, like even thinking about all that stuff, it just makes me feel tired.
I know.
Which is where a lot of stuff comes from. Yeah.
Yeah.
But unless you pay attention to yourself, you have no clue. This is the route you're going on. And at first it's, gosh, at the beginning of this path, I don't think I would have even been able to recognize those things because there was so much shedding of old stuff to do that it was easy to see all this stuff.
You know what came to my mind after I stopped talking, you started talking, was a performer, right? A performer has to go through so much training. I'm just going to say like a circus performer, right? They got to go through so much training, rigorous hours of training, trying to please the crowd so that they're entertaining and getting approval from the crowd. Because if the crowd loves them, then their show is successful. As individuals, we have our own little fucking circus and we're trying to please the crowd and feel loved and accepted so we feel good about ourselves when we don't have to do that at all. Please myself, approve of myself, love myself, entertain. I can entertain myself like no tomorrow. I've done it on here multiple times. Let's say something and laugh because I think it's funny. I don't care if anybody else laughs. I laugh at myself. I entertain myself. I'm home almost every day by myself. And I am so freaking entertaining. I just laugh at myself almost every day. It's so easy to do. So easy. Whereas the old self would have been putting myself down, calling myself an idiot. You're a dumbass, right? Saying all these things to myself. And that's not fun. So we don't do that anymore. I laugh at myself, which is telling my body, even in a mistake, what, quote unquote mistake. I go, oh, isn't that interesting that I did that? And I'll laugh about it because it's telling my body, we're okay, we're safe, we made a mistake, it's okay. We're going to get through this. Whereas before, you sit with it for hours or days. We got to send the signals to the body that we're okay and we're safe. And the more you do that, the easier it gets, which means you're, again, approving and accepting of yourself and whatever you do and whatever you choose to do. And it's okay. It's okay. Because every choice is going to be a lesson. Guaranteed.
It's a journey. When you were talking earlier, it made me think of Family Circus. Do you remember that little comic strip?
Yeah.
And the kids all running all over the place. That was, earlier in the conversation, because that's what it reminds me of. That's what we kind of were running through and jumping through all these hoops. And But on the other side of that, at the same point, when I'm listening to my intuition and going through my day, it's certainly not a straight line ever. It's like
Yeah.
it's all over the place, but I'm getting so much more accomplished than I would ever get accomplished if I had just made that list and went on that straight line. Because
Right.
and it wouldn't have been as fun either. So quick trying to control the journey. That's the great message. Have a nice day, everybody. And
There you go. We finally got to the message.
yes, we're trying to control the journey.
Don't
But
control
it's
the
so
journey.
easy. We recognize so many things, and it's like even going down to, well, I want 3 signs for this, trying to control the journey. When we're already getting the signs, that's something for me to get to the bottom of too. Not so that's control right there. That's all control. But having an understanding of why do I feel like I have to have the sign over and over and over again. I'm curious about that. Because that's what's I've noticed. I do that a lot. I'll ask for an answer and I get an answer. So I'll stop and be quiet. And someone will be like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just talking to myself. I'm just having a dialogue within myself. I'm asking a question about something, whatever. And I am, because I'm waiting for my body's response. How's my body going to respond to this? And the body response is, you know, you can stand straight up and you can ask your body, just like a pendulum, show me a yes. For my body, it leans forward. And then for a yes, and then I'll say, show me a no, and that's all the way backwards. And if it's a neutral or not this time or whatever, I'll just stay where I'm at and I won't feel any movement at all. So I take my vitamins that way. I ask questions about things, and then I start getting into asking more questions because maybe I feel like that question really wasn't the right question to ask. And then I don't know if we talked about it last week, maybe it was the week before, but recognizing this body is just a vessel. This is the vehicle that I'm in. So recognizing this is my body, now I'm asking, or not, it's a body that I'm in, it's not my body. I've got a truck out that I drive. I'm driving this vehicle around that I'm sitting in this skin suit, right, that I'm in right now. But it's asking this body, okay, I'm like, okay, body, what do you need right now? And then going through that process. So there's all these things that I'm looking at, and you hear me already, I'm kind of battling a little bit with and calling it mine and stuff like that. This is the suit I'm in right now. It's so interesting that we could have so many different aspects of us existing right now on this planet, that there's a potential that we could actually run into these other existence of ourselves, this other aspect of ourselves. And they may look like this, look like we are right now, or it may not. There's all these things, but it's a knowing, it's a being connected with inside. It's what makes it fun every day. It's listening to the messages, looking up the numbers, it's knowing that every single thing around you is a message. We've been sitting here talking several times. I've had a butterfly come up to the window, like fly up along the window. It's like it's trying to get in here. It's like, it's all right. It's all right, girl. I see you.
I see you. Mama, I see you.
That's right. That's right. But it's just interesting as we're having all these conversations, because everything has a message.
Yeah.
And that's what makes our life exciting. That's what the journey's about. It's going to the next part, and the next part is not just to go sit in the corner and think about what you did wrong. It's to go outside and think about what you did right and feel how this feels right now. And how does that, ooh, there goes the butterfly. Oh, look, there's a worm on the ground. Oh, that ant. I had an ant up. I'm like the other day, I swear to God, he was trying to talk to me. I was waiting for him to get on his back legs, and like wave his arms at me. Because he kept coming around me, and I was like, well, just stay off me and then we'll be fine. Like we can hang out together. And I noticed that he kept going around the corner and the wind kept blowing him backwards. So, and it wasn't like he was trying to take a piece of me off to go feed the nest, it wasn't like anything like that. It was, but it was awesome. But I would not have had that awareness if I wasn't sitting there, just kind of watching everything, paying attention to what was going on around me, taking a few moments.
Honoring yourself.
Honoring self. You are right.
I love how we always come back around. We go in that, right? We don't have this straight path conversation. We're like, we start and then we're all over. And when we come back around, top it off.
It brings everybody along for the ride. And then they recognize, oh, this is why this makes sense. This is why the beginning of the conversation now makes sense. So even going back and listening to it again would be like, oh, I get that. I understand that.
Even for me, just saying, even the chin.
That's right. That's all it starts with, is just that little chin hair. And it brought conversation, right? Which is right around your throat chakra, your mouth, like that,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
around this expression. So awesome.
I love it. It's 11:01. It's manifesting numbers. Any final words?
Enjoy the journey,
Yeah.
all of it. Even the stuff that doesn't feel like it's good, because there's something good that's going to come out of it.
Yeah, I would say, is to stop and ask, like we were talking about earlier, stop and ask yourself periodically through the day, set an alarm on your phone to remind you to do it, and ask, what do I need right now? Or what does my body need right now? Right? And listen and start taking action on that on the messages that you receive. Maybe it's just pause and breathe. You can take 3 deep breaths at work. You can do that. It's okay. Right? So anyway, we want to thank you for your time and energy hanging out with us. Tea Time with Amie and Bev. We are here every week. Don't keep us a secret, right? You have friends and family that maybe need to hear these messages as well. So you can find us on all kinds of platforms. Let's see, Podcast Addict, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify. We're in many places. We're in Facebook. So we're accessible and it's free. So let your friends and family know too, if they're struggling and they need to hear different perspectives, then we're here. And we enjoy doing this. This is Bev and I's therapy session every week. So, and we offer it to you to join us. So there you have it.
Awesome.
All right, my friends, make it a great week. We'll see you next time.
Bye.